university is very important to us in general. Business is also important. Business as usual, but also business in particular. So I guess this university and business cooperation would fall into the in particular category. And not to mention the fact that all that to be handled in Central Europe, which is thought to be the most developing region of Europe, of the European Union. So these are all challenges, and I hope that these 2 days will answer some of the open questions. As director of the university, let me tell you some words on our activity in general and also related to the subject proper. We are staying, and the conference will be held in this more than 100 years old building, which is a very historical traditional building, which belongs to an institute more than 200 years old. Our university, just to see immediately the international ranking, takes the, say, between 400 and 800 position in the world university rankings, and it is interpreted among almost 24,000 higher education institutions. So the race is rather high. Hence, we belong to the top 2–3% of the world. We are a typical university of technology, and similarly to the top universities of this kind, we also have a significant economics business branch. At our university, 85% of the students study in the field of engineering, including architecture and informatics. So just to know, architecture and informatics are taught in a very, very engineering style, and those students make very much use of that. While 12% of them study business. A recent survey reports that world-leading universities of technology is often close to that as far as their structure is concerned. This shows that the fields of technology and business can mutually benefit through cooperation. To give you an example, our university is not only the leading university of technology in the country, but also enrolls most MBA students in Hungary. This is, however, not a surprise, as technology and business are the two sides of the same coin. Of course, we occasionally also experience the third one, the edge of the coin, but I'm not going to speak about that. Intellectuality, atmosphere, and culture of such a university all have to simulate the economic environment, and both professors and students must know, appreciate, and respect the profession of each other. This has been the vision of our university since 1934, when the university had first started to use the term economics in its name. This might be the reason for choosing the Budapest University of Technology and Economics to be the host of this conference, and this being also in line with the aim of these 2 days. That is, to provide a valuable forum for discussions of many interesting and challenging topics, and to demonstrate the opportunities and benefits of the cooperation between the higher education, industry, and business sector. So, in the light of all that, I would like to wish you a very fruitful conference, co-working discussion, both in daytime and in the evenings. Thanks very much.
Good morning. Minister, Rector, distinguished participants. Let me start by thanks to those who organize this conference. It's a great honor to be here for me, and I could explain my admiration for a very beautiful place where we are. And now I'm absolutely clear that Budapest is one of the beautiest cities in Europe, and first time here. In different capacities, I was in all other capitals, but Bucharest, the Budapest and Bucharest, two ones who won, so first time, we'll see some Bucharest. Second thing I want to explain, admiration. Yesterday we have spoken with the Minister of State. I was very surprised how Hungarians managed to finance practically 100% higher education. 100%. I know the countries where the state funding is not more than 35%, 30%, 40%, but when it goes to 100%, this is very serious how Hungary state is giving attention to the education on a very high level. And still, as the Rector said, the level is very high, university is between 500. This is a serious task for perhaps other member states, even from the Central Europe and those who joined the EU in 2004. I would like to use your time a little bit to be very provocative and to explain my thoughts about that. I would start with one thing. After the European Parliament, I used to teach different business courses and different European study courses in different universities in my country, Latvia. And even mostly they are postgraduates or masters. So when I came into auditoria, I usually ask, you are something 40, 50 people, you want to be a master's, even MBAs. My first question, how many of you have your own business? And the answer is very, very poor. Between 40, 50 people, practically there's 1-2 hands being raised. And this is a very serious question sometimes, I thought, because sometimes young people are thinking to do business, it's perhaps to work in the good company, in the big company, earn big money, but it's not a business making. You are going 2 times a month to get salary. You are not paying salaries to people. And this is the first thing why perhaps the situation about entrepreneurship in my country and also in Central Europe is not so flourishing. I would start with the first chapter what I want to explain you is everything is starting from the basis. If you look at the European Commission analysis, Eurodice report in 2016, so it's European entrepreneurship education at school in Europe. What you will see, the result is that 23% only of those who are in the schools in the member states of Europe, only 23, taking part in a course at school learning to entrepreneurship. So it means less than 1/4 have any understanding before universities, some meaning about what means business, to learn something in the business. And this is objective for universities to do it later. But if the young people are not somehow introduced in this field as entrepreneurship, then it will be not easy for universities to do it later. Second thing I have to mention in this reason, in this first chapter is, unfortunately, there are some strategies for entrepreneurship education in the member states, not in all, but the learning outcomes are not connected with the strategies. So it means that the people have been taught different business features, different business characteristics, but the learning outcome is not so serious. And even if we look today on the curriculum basis, then not all countries, and practically few of them have on the compulsory basis in curriculum to put entrepreneurship education thing. And this makes not a good basis for universities to start to teach students, my understanding is. The other thing is the money. Actually, if you look at the money, 25 countries or member states from 10 to 8 are using European funds. It's very nice, but if you look who is providing special budget for entrepreneurship education, it's only Sweden. No other country in Europe is providing special part of budget towards entrepreneurship education on different levels, starting from schools and the universities. What I have to say at the end, it looks like this basis has to be improved. Unfortunately, we don't have such as PISA tests at the universities level. But if you look at the last PISA report 2012, you could see that by additional problem-solving tests, additional to literacy, additional to mathematics, additional to language knowledge, you could see that the countries who spend a lot of money for innovation in the whole are between the first ones. In the world, first 8 are Chinese, mostly, in different combinations, Hong Kong, Shanghai, whatever else. But in Europe, first are Netherlands, second Estonia. And I have some jealous why my northern neighbors are so good in that. It's a good question. If you look at the second charter, universities, where we are now today, there I have to address myself to Entrepreneurship Plan 2020. When I was in Parliament, we little bit work about that, and so too much talking, the outcome, it's a good question. I would try to explain you. This plan, what means this plan for universities, for people who are trying to study? The first thing is also not very positive. Starting from 2004 till 2012, it was opinion poll in all that was 27 European states. Croatia was not a member. But the number of people, young people, who want to express intention to be employer, not employee, but employer to make their own business, is dropping down. Seriously. There are only very few countries where it's going vice versa. In Czech Republic, from 30% to 34%, just opinion results. Latvia, 42, 49, Lithuania 52 to 58, and Slovakia 30 to 33. In other countries, they are dated till 2012. Perhaps nowadays the situation is different. But the problem is that this after-crisis feeling makes for people not a good intentions to be employer to make its own business. For that reason, this education and entrepreneurship will be not an easy. If you look at one of the pillars in the plan, what we could see, it's a good words written. A new frontiers, higher education for entrepreneurship is in the entrepreneurship plan. And universities should become more entrepreneurial. It's a good talk. The question is result. What we have to check out in all your countries, also here, what were the objections in this plan? What Commission has obliged to do? Disseminate entrepreneurial university guidance framework in early 2013. And Commission say that they will gradually promote this entrepreneurial university guidance for all EU higher education institutions. I haven't heard any result of that, how it's going in the real life and how universities have adapted it, and is any real result of that or not. The member states in this plan also were invited to take competence entrepreneurship, to put the curricula in cross-country, on the school level, and also to increase this on the university level. But I have no idea is this Entrepreneurship Plan 2020 really working in that way or not? It's a good question. Perhaps somebody of you will try to explain in this conference. The third chapter is Erasmus+. Now, 12,000 for masters, 18,000 a year you could get a loan, not a grant, to make some master outside your member state. This is one of the characteristics of Erasmus. To employ skills, employment prospects, and so. But I will touch one thing in the Erasmus+, which will be very effective here, perhaps. It's a question of knowledge alliances. It is not so clear, are they working in Europe or not, even in our part of Europe? Because what means knowledge alliances? It's three sides: education, research, innovation. And the idea is that higher education, through more interactive learning environments, increase knowledge exchange. But to get access funds from the EU, to organize such a knowledge alliance, what has to be done? It has to be a minimum of 6 organizations from at least 3 member states, program countries, and it has to be in each state minimum 2 higher education institutions and minimum 2 enterprises. So construction is, you will get money from the EU to provide this Erasmus Plus program, but you have to provide 3 countries We have to have 2 higher education institutions and 2 business institutions. I haven't heard the result. It's still working or not. So mostly European papers are very good intention, but the problem is that real life, it's viable or not, it's a good thing. Okay, when we look at Erasmus+, it's also a very good thing. Traineeships for students, staff mobility for training, and so and so. Is it real in life? It's a good question also for this conference. The next chapter is social fund. And here, as a previous member of parliament and member of budget committee, I have to explain my very, 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 very skeptical approach. Social fund, there's a lot of money was taken away from social fund in 2014, 2015. It was a political thing, yes. Mr. Barroso and so, and they said we have to help young people, young and unemployment initiative. You heard that 2.3 billion euros have been forwarded to the 2014-2015 away from social fund. The problem is, what is results? In Hungary, in your countries, this program is still implemented, and the question, is this implementation has given results or not, in the case also in entrepreneurship. Because what the idea was to put 2.3 billion to decrease unemployment for young people who are without the work. The problem is I have some thoughts that it could be the problem of the result, and the problem for, in case to subsidize and to give loans to higher education, in the case what we are here, is that this money will lack itself in the end of this financial period, because it was given to the youth initiative, unemployment initiative. A last thing what I have to say, I don't know, I'm from now teaching at different universities, but I'm docent in one of the private university, Riseba, in Latvia, the Riga International Business University, and I really want to explain only a small thing about 2 parts. One is incubation. We have 60 universities. Okay, I think it's not universities, the higher education entities in Latvia, and only 4 of them has this program of incubators, business incubators. In my university, it is, and all this program is working on pre-incubation phases. So actually, it's a question. It's providing a basket of services to incubators team. And pre-incubation stage, that was a new program in Latvia, testing idea, market research, preparation, entrepreneurs' mind. And not a bad results. Not a bad results. However, what is in the basket for the students in this 4 who are working together also, this cross-cooperation between on the incubator business basis, business coaching, mentors, learning, meeting place, participants in projects, consultation. Have to say, it's 20 months program. Results, how can I say? The competition between students who want to participate in incubators, they don't need to pay. But I will just at the end will give some examples. With what business thinking is starting for students at the university if they want to study business. And you could judge it. Fishing catches from wood. The catch is artificial, how you catch the fishes out. New entertainment platform, find and create. Rooms for virtual reality project. Natural smoothies. Cat care community, it's a social project. Bread baking at home. Preparation of functional food at home, and so. So it looks like very poor, but the problem is it's not easy to start the thinking of independent business. And the last thing about technology transfer points. As usually, the beginning of ideas, the beginning of thoughts are very, very good, but we come back to the realization, at least I know, and in my country and particularly, it was not so successful. Because the main idea was that the money was given, European money also, European development regional fund money, with co-funding from state, was given to business associations, to businessmen. And this money through business will go to university, will go to scientific organizations. So the idea was that businessmen will choose to whom they give the money, which is coming through from the Europe, through the responsible agencies, universities. Unfortunately, my country was not successful. At the end of the day, the responsible agency, Minister of Economics, has to spread this money between universities. And this is not the technology transfer point idea. However, perhaps I'm wrong. At the end of my chaotic speech, I really want to thank you for the possibility to be here. I wish all the participants of universities and from entities who are here to speak very seriously about this thing and to remember that in the strategy 2020, there's a big talk about that. But one of the main things is that without increasing innovation part in the value-added businesses, services and products, the Europe and the European Union as a whole will be more and more behind those who are approaching the modern world with a well-educated people, starting from the curriculum, middle schools, finishing universities. And one of the things is that only in cooperation with businesses, only with support by state, it could be possible to catch those who are a little bit in front of us. Thank you very much for your attention.
The Prime Minister, Rector, dear ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for the invitation. My colleagues told me that today I should not talk too much about the details of the Hungarian tertiary education changes, but I should transfer here messages more global, which could be sort of practice. I'm not saying best practice, but definitely a practice or bad practice, what shouldn't be followed. I'm glad to look at the audience because most of you are from countries who, I believe, facing the same problems. As the Prime Minister's talk was here, I was very glad because you raised many issues, and I will try to show what type of answers we try to find here, but as said, on a general scale. A special focus will be given to best practices at the end, the link between business and university, or industry and university. I would like to show two solutions what we have chosen and started to practice. But before going into that detail, just a little bit of diagnosis. First of all, I think that all former Eastern or Eastern European, but former socialistic countries' education system must be assessed. Since the political changes in the last 25 years, it is quite a significant time. University system is not very dynamic. If we make any kind of intervention today, we are going to see the results in about 10 years or even more. And I think that we need to look back what happened in the last 25 years. I would say, at least in Hungary, but I guess it's valid for the other countries as well, these last 25 years were not bad. The university system fulfilled its task on a large scale, saying that it made possible the mobility within the society. It opened the gates of the universities, and before we had a very limited number of students before 89. Now we opened the university doors for everybody, and everybody could get access to the university, getting diploma. The freedom of teaching was realized, which was not always the case before, and also the unity of research and education was established. So I think that these are very positive things. But of course, 25 years of continuous changes, it always has some disadvantages, sometimes quite a lot of disadvantages. Rapid changes like introduction of the Bologna system, like increasing, you can see it on the next chart, increasing the number of the students. It's very interesting to see that in 91, altogether we had 100,000 students in all of the Hungarian universities, and until 2005 it went up to 420,000. So it was 4 times higher. It is decreasing since then. There are 2 reasons. One is the demography, and the other reason is basically all those people who did not have an access before to the university, they went to the university somewhere around 2000, 2005 as adults, and now they are getting out of the system. But still, we have 300,000 students in the Hungarian education system. It will decrease. Now it's primarily because of the demography. We try to counterbalance it as much as possible. I will show some figures, but that's a fact. These are the good news. But of course, if we assess our system, we need to look some figures. And yeah, I would say the best figures are produced by OECD. At least these figures are comparable to or among the other countries. And in the country note in 2014, since then we already have the 2015 country note, there are 5 points which were mentioned as, well, either positive or negative critics on the education system. First point, that in Hungary, the education attainment really matters. What does it mean? It means that in 2014, the ratio or the unemployment rate for people having diploma in Hungary was 2.5%. It virtually means nothing. Virtually everybody who has a diploma, they have a job. The OECD average is about 4.5%, and in Germany there is also 2.4%. So in this respect, we are good. Of course, if we look at the content, whether for the job what one individual takes is really a diploma needed, that's a different issue depending on education. In case of medical doctors, it's almost 100% that if somebody is hired, then he needs to have a diploma, and there are other qualifications where that's not the case. Whether it's good or bad, this is a matter of approach. I don't think that that's too bad. Nevertheless, out of that we should derive a target that the diploma should be positionable on the labor market. The second point what was defined for Hungary, that we need to close the gap between the secondary education and the tertiary education. As I said, with higher education diploma situation is good. That's not the case for the for the secondary education. So that's why one very important task to bring somewhat together the secondary education to the university. It means also many tasks. Public expenditures on education in general, also higher education in Hungary, is higher education is about 0.8% of the GDP, with which we are almost the last one among the OECD countries. This is of course not good. I will show some figures. What is the plan of the government to increase this? Of course, here the calculation method is somewhat different, but that's a good figure. Transition from school to work. Here we need to do a lot. So that's not good if somebody finishes the school, either secondary or university, and then his appearance on the labor market is not guaranteed. There are different techniques. I will show some afterwards. And also very important, educational equity is an important issue. We should reduce the correlation between the social position of the family of a student and his education results. That's very well measurable on the PISA results. So this is what we have taken as an input to the Hungarian higher education strategy. There are many points what I would like to go through. It's difficult to design strategy for a higher education system because, as I said, what we do today, we will see the results in 10 years, and in 10 years many things can change. So that's why we had a look when making the strategy. We had a look at the, well, in general, the so-called megatrends. So what we are going to face if we look to the future 15 years. We try to deploy these megatrends to challenges and what kind of answers can we find, what are the solutions. So this is what is embedded in our strategy. What's the traditional structure of a business strategy, deriving from the vision. We defined the strategy goals for higher education system is not very different. This means quality in the education, excellence in research, and normally the so-called third mission, so how the university's knowledge will be used for the good of the society of the region. That's very important. In fact, this last point is normally not considered when we modified the law for higher education. We also put this third point into that. in order to have a reference for this. There are many enablers what we should do. Of course, these are changing, the first three not. And the strategy is planned for a given time period, so we needed to deploy also the challenges, what we see in front of us. We defined 5 areas where we said, yes, these are the 5 most critical fields where we need to have a special focus on. In Hungary, for the next, let's say, 5 to 10 years, this is the medical education. It's not because it is bad. In fact, it's quite good. But opportunity, what we can build on that, it's pretty huge. I think that in other countries that's also quite popular. Foreign students, many foreign students participate in the Hungarian medical education. 40% of the students in doctor education are already foreign students who seemingly find it very attractive, and also they find the diploma good enough or good in order to position themselves on the labor market in other countries. Teachers' education is an issue. We modified quite a lot in this respect. We need to work on that further on. This is what I mentioned. We need to bring somewhat together the university and the other part of the education system. One logical interface. This is the content of the education. The STEM issue is issue all around the world. We have shortage of informatics engineers, people in science, technology. So that's why we put it here. We defined a strategy or sub-strategy and also many programs for that. Business education, we believe that's easy. No, it's not easy. We are still having a content which is somewhat outdated. We will initiate a program how to modify the content of that. And Hungary, the Finland is still a country for agriculture, so that's why we also need to focus on that. These are the 5 important things. It doesn't mean that the strategy does not deal with other fields, but these are which are especially in the focus. So, few general things what we are planning. First, called excellence in education. As you have seen, the number of the students from 100,000 went up to 400,000. So from a sort of elite education to a type of mass education, but we see already the disadvantages. Disadvantage that the relationship between the professor and the student just disappeared. So the complete education system is unpersonalized. We don't find it as the right approach for the future. So we should do something with it. This is also valid for the PhD education system. We see the disadvantages of the system, of the Bologna system, not the Bologna system, but as we implemented it, we handle the PhD as the PhD studies as an education, but not as a primary research which leads to a scientific degree. We also made modifications in that, extended the time period, increased the stipendium or the financing, and also we put we are going to put severe conditions forward to this. It's very important to have international experience for the students. None of the domestic education systems are measured on domestic scale. Our students, as the universities, they are competing on a global scale, on a European level. So that's why it's very important that the students will have during their studies international experience. We are not very good at that. Currently, only 10% of the students are having at least 1 semester abroad at other university. Although Erasmus program offers opportunities without limit, but there are some technical issues what we resolved. The target is here that until 2020 we are going to reach 20% of the students will have at least 1 semester abroad and studying at some other university. We made also the financial background as well as the legal background for that. Contrary, an education system is not only measured here, but measured by the fact that what is the percentage of the foreign students. We are not bad, but also not good at that. Currently, roughly 8.59% of the total student population are not Hungarian citizens. They are coming from abroad. The target, what we set, is 15%. 15% is Germany, more or less. In the German education system, 15% of the students are from abroad. That was the target, what we also said, and also define the actions. Actually, I'm quite optimistic that we are going to reach this level until 2020, 2022. The research as the second strategic target is very important, since during the research we renew our know-how, our knowledge. This is what will be educated afterwards. But also the research connects the university to the surrounding world, to the industries, to the business. So that's why we also defined many points to improve the research activities. First of all, Hungary is a small country. Not all our universities can be experts on all fields. That's why we try to make a sort of incentive system for the universities to focus their activities. Not each field should be handled in the same way. We will not be able... Sorry, I did something, but... Yeah. So not each field can be handled in the same way. So that's why the focus of the activities on that field where the university can be really expert and good and excellent, that's very important. The research, the basic research funding system will be modified. So far we concentrated on institutions, research university, excellent university. It's not effective. We are going to modify the structure to the excellency of a person or excellency of a discipline, but not an institution. It is somewhat similar to the ERC granting system. We are going to invite to this bidding process professors, research teams, disciplines, and they are going to get funding for the research. Out of that funding, a certain percentage goes to the university, just make the university, well, interesting in that, but the results will be generated by the team and not by the university. This is what is going on now. The third mission for universities, Hungary. University in Hungary plays a special role. If we look, and I would like to show this picture here, and then I will go back to the others. If you look, what is the institutional network in Hungary who can support either the technology development in the country or the social development, then we could conclude that only the universities can take over this job. We have 29 state or 30 state-owned university, and we have additionally 40 non-state-owned, either private or universities related to a church. The 29 or the 30 universities cover the country. In comparison, the research institutes of the Hungarian Academy of Sciences are mostly concentrated to Budapest. There are some outside of Budapest, but mostly in Budapest. The logical consequence that the university system can act as a regional center for many things. Regional center for technology support to the companies, regional center for education, regional center for the intelligence, which cannot, no other system which can fulfill this task. We are going to create a sort of system which is a center of excellencies instead of the research universities. The cooperation of the universities is very important. The university normally doesn't like to cooperate with the others, especially in Hungary. I don't know how in the other countries, but that's somewhat the nature. Everybody believes that we can do everything and we are the best, which is okay. But there are fields where the cooperation would be good. We started to promote this idea, and I think that the university is reacting very well. During the last few weeks, universities signed memorandum understandings in order to cover certain technological or other field development. So I see already the positive results. So the Bologna system, when we introduced in 2005. Okay, one point. The Bologna system is good. I'm not saying that I have anything against the Bologna system, but we introduced it very rapidly. We had a short preparation time, and from the decision, the system was established within 1 year. And of course, after 10 years of an operation of a new system, we need to rethink what do we want to do. The Bologna system, as we introduced it, made two things. The former colleges or high schools, they were started to act as universities because the Bologna system doesn't differentiate these two institutional type. It differentiates the basic diploma, the Bachelor of Science and the Master of Science, but not the institutional type. So these colleges started to act as universities, and the universities needed to compete with the colleges, which didn't bring the expected results. Nevertheless, the system was introduced, and after 10 years we should say, okay, there is no real difference between the between institutions, but which still we need to differentiate. We introduced a new type of universities, a university called University of Applied Sciences. Well, in fact, it was new in Hungary. It's not new in the other part of the world. And this university type is going to replace the former colleges. The requirements for this type are, of course, higher than for the colleges, but somewhat lower than for the universities. I think that with this, we will be able to position these institutional types, and everybody finds their way within this. Also, the Bologna system, as we introduced, was quite rigid: Bachelor of Science, Master of Science. There are diplomas which are requested by the labor market, but it doesn't fit really to the Bachelor of Science because it's not a scientific degree. That's why also the new education law allows to have a different form. We call it as Bachelor of Professional. It can be Bachelor of Engineering, it can be Bachelor of Economy. This is a diploma from which it is not necessarily easy to get to the Master of Science. We also define the Master of Professional degree. With this diploma, the students after 3 years or 3.5 years, they can go immediately to the labor market, and it is not necessary to continue in the master, in the direction of the master education. As I said, the current university structure is good. There are universities or colleges which were not functioning very well because of the size, because of the financing, but we decided not to close any existing university or any access to a university. In fact, we want to open up new ones. When we see it from the business side, it seems a little bit stupid because if we have a small institution, why should we keep it? I mean, the students can move 60, 100 kilometers to the bigger city and they can study there at a bigger university. This is all valid, but it has consequences. One consequence, if somebody leaves his original hometown and comes to Budapest, 95% they will not go back there. And this issue that there is no access to a university where we need to have the people, this explanation was the reason that instead of closing these small universities or small colleges, we tried to restructure them in a way that not a full portfolio will be offered at these institutions. Also, we reduced their structure to the level where we still can finance it, but the access was not closed. Additional point, I think that most of you know the community college system. There are different realizations. One realization which is quite typical in North America, especially United States and California. These are institutions which issue on diploma. The other interpretation of the community college, which was implemented in France, which says that an existing university brings his education to that region, where the community is going to finance it, but the diploma will be issued by the university, by the existing university. We have decided for the second one, and this is the first time when already in 3 cities, this kind of community college in cooperation with a given university will start its operation. Of course, here we don't have to think on institutions which are in competition with MIT. No. So these are small locations with limited number of students, 30, 60, 100 students, with a very lean structure, but at least offers an opportunity for those people who would otherwise not go to a university, or if they go, they will not go back to their original living area, an opportunity that they can study there, they can get a diploma, and they can work there afterwards. We already have quite positive experiences with similar solutions. It seems that if we are able to control the costs of this education type, then it will be a good and effective solution. As I said, it will start in 3 cities now, and next year we already have the next 4 to 7 applications. So, innovation in education. I don't want to go into details. We are all at universities. You understand what we do there. Few points. We should change our attitude. saying that the contact hours is important. So when I'm staying here as a professor, big audience like today, I'm going to talk and then I go home. That's not necessarily the good approach. We should not teach the students, but we should somewhat reach that the students are going to learn what we are going to say here. And it's also very important that they like it. So the joy factor of obtaining that know-how, it must be increased. And there are different ways how to do that. The project-based learning, so giving more individual task to the group of the students or students and coaching them up to the results. This is one very important way. We have also introduced a new form from last year. It is called dual education or cooperative education. Cooperative education means that besides the university, the student is educated by the company. I think that you might know the German Duale Hochschule, dual education system. It says that during the study period or before that, the company selects the student, makes him an offer. So if you get to that university, then parallel to that, I'm going to teach you. And when you finish when you get your degree, then you will be a ready professional. So this system we introduced. I will talk a little bit about that, and I will show also some results about this. Last but not least, financing and the governance of universities. I'm not going to go into details. We have introduced, besides the rector or additional to the rector, an additional leader for the university. This is the chancellor, responsible for the financial, legal, non-academic control of the university. I'm not saying that it was a smooth transition. So we have introduced it 1 year ago, and actually the system gains certain acceptance, but the results are already visible. Also, I think that yesterday we announced the members of the Board of Trustees. Earlier we didn't have this institutional type. It's a board which is related to the university, containing people from industry, from business, who feels responsibility for the university, but on the other hand, they are able to judge and able to assess the non-academic activities of the university, strategy, budget, all other things. And they connect the university to the surrounding world. The business model, the financing of the university is an important issue. The Prime Minister was very kind and said 100% is financed by the state. Roughly, considering the studies, roughly 85% of the students who are getting state subsidy, and they are learning free of charge. The rest is paying either by themselves or by others. Nevertheless, this chart shows what is the current situation. The Hungarian higher education system has a budget of about 1.6 billion euro altogether. Out of that, roughly 50%, which is compensated directly by the state funding. This is what you can see in the OECD statistics. Roughly one additional quarter, a little bit less, is financed by grants, but that's also community support, and also in other ways, but that's also related to the state. The own income of the universities, what they really generate because of their own activities, is pretty low. The tuition fee is significant, but if you look at the investment of companies or the donations, for example, it's almost negligible. So that's not good. Simplified, universities get their 1.5% of the budget out of research and development services made for companies. The donation virtually doesn't exist, although in the well-balanced university structure, like if you look at America, North America, USA, or if you look at Western Europe, these are significant portions. Here, the state dominance is still very high, which is okay at this point, but we need to make also the conditions in a way that for the companies it will worse to go to the university. Also, the donations should be increased. Otherwise, the state gives the financing, but it is not a robust system. We could see the results, as you also mentioned, in 2008. Crisis comes. What will be the results? That's why the university financing must have different levels. At least 5, as you can see here. But that's just saying some positive things. This blue part of, you see here the budget of the total higher education system, sorry, the state-owned ones, and the central government support. Since 2013, it is increasing next year, although the green line shows the decay of the student number. So the task is reducing, financing is increasing. That means that the quality must increase. That's just simplifying the impact of that. But nevertheless, yeah, that's really what's happening. We are going to have a saturation on a student number level, and the level of financing is going to increase. So. These are roughly the general issues, and I would like to show two examples now related to the topic of the conference. One is the so-called dual education or cooperative education. Here the companies always blamed the universities in Hungary that the knowledge what a university graduate has, it's very much theoretical. It's not related to the praxis. There is reason for that. First reason is historical reason. We had a nice Prussian type of education, plus the level of technical experts in the Hungarian higher education is very low. Consequently, if I have only research background, I cannot really teach practice. So that's why, based on the requirements of the companies, we introduced this dual education or cooperative education system in 2014. We had a trial or a pilot project already in 2012 at one university. One of the results you can see down when you came into the university main hall, there is an electric car. This electric car is generated at that university where we introduced this dual type of education. There is a certain correlation between the two things. By the way, you should know that this vehicle was seventh on the race organized in Australia and preceded, for example, MIT, just because I mentioned MIT. It's my favorite institution anyway. So it was a good result. That time we had only two German companies, because they have this experience from Germany, who were promoting this, Daimler Chrysler or Mercedes-Benz and Knorr-Bremse, starting with 25 students. These students have a very interesting education type. They spend the complete semester at the university until end of November, then go to the company until end of January. They will be educated. So this is not an apprenticeship. This is not a trainee trainee program what they are doing, but they are being formally educated at the company. And then after this 2 months period, they go back to the university. They spend the next semester there until end of May, and from end of May until end of August or beginning of September, they will be at the company and being educated. So that's the system. It's pretty simple. The students are working all around the year. So out of the 52 weeks, they have 48 weeks education. They are very tired, of course, at the end. But when they finish the university, they are ready specialists. So they can immediately sit into any position in that company where they get the practical training. Surprisingly, the students are very motivated. They know, I mean, their usual student life cannot be understood because they do not have long summer holiday. There is no skiing holiday. Basically, there's only one thing to work. But when they get their diploma, they will have guaranteed a job and very high level know-how. Last year we had here you can see this colored chart on the right-hand side. You can see how the semester is being organized. So this is really a tough job, not for the universities, but for the students and for the companies. The companies started to understand what does it mean? Last year we had altogether 400 companies applied for this, and out of that 200 hired students. There were offers for 1,000 positions at the final end. Roughly 500 students started this education form. This year, this is the second year when everybody understood what does it mean. The number of the additional companies increased. We are at around 500. And they offered almost 3,000 positions. So that means that from last year, from the 500, now we have additional 3,000 positions for the upcoming year. So it seems that the companies understood and accepted this type of education form because they see the results. So this is typically a win-win-win situation. It's a winning situation for the student because his know-how and experience is high. It's a winning situation for the company because he participates in the education of their future experts. Of course, a student cannot only work at that company, but can work at supplier, can work at competition, doesn't matter. But that community will be increased, and also good for the universities, because whether the university wants or not, but he is in everyday contact with the company because of the student. And of course, this contact leads also to additional effects. For example, scientific cooperation with the company, making services for the company. So this is a good solution. The other, and I think that my time is almost over, so I'm not going to go into very much of the details, just showing what the problem is here. If we look the innovation scorecard, the European Innovation Scorecard, where Hungary stays in that, we are not at a good position. At least what we believe from ourselves, we are not at a good position. And if we look at the details of the analysis, we can see why is not. One is biggest difference between the European average and the Hungarian current position. This is the research system. So that was the reason when we have started this strategy development. Although the university covers only some part or one part of the research system, but we started to concentrate on how to close these gaps, and all the actions what we define in the strategy for the research cooperation are based on this. Opportunities are high. If you look at the OECD ranking as far as the high-tech added value in the production is concerned, Hungary is always, within the first 2, 3, 4, 5. That means that the companies who are working here, not only the multinational companies, but also their Hungarian suppliers, they are facing with this challenge. So the opportunity is there. Now we need to fulfill these requirements. Also concerning the GDP proportional R&D expenditure, it is increasing. In 2013 it was 1.3%. In 2014 it went up to 1.44%, and I think that 2015 it increased further on, which is a good sign. So it means that Hungary, from the former production hub, we started to move towards the innovation hub. The companies who are having significant production here, they started to move in a larger extent also research and development, not only application, but really basic research and development activities here. But of course, we as universities, we need to cope with this challenge, and we need to fulfill the requirements, and that's what we have started with different actions. I think that this is what the biggest challenge for the next period. I'm going to jump over the rest of the slides and get to the summary. If I have to assess the activities during the last 2 years, I should say that all the actions, or almost all the actions, which are related to the framework, or to the frames, legal framework, financial framework, institutional management framework, it's almost done. We are not planning any additional larger modifications. The topic we are concentrating, this is now the content, the contextual development. How are we going to teach? What are we going to teach? What is the topic for research? How are we going to do that research? What will be the relationship with the business, with the companies? So these are the activities which are running now, and I think that this will offer a unique opportunity for the Hungarian universities. Sometimes, of course, we have demonstrations, misunderstandings. The number is just going to be reduced. I think that's the way where we need to go. So I would be interested in your experiences if you have opportunity for questions. Thank you very much for your attention.